Welcome to Take Me Out, the ultimate podcast about ballparks and the baseball experience. It's July 25th, 2025. I'm Alexandra Ellis, and I'm joining my friend Timothy Malcolm.
What's up, baseball fans? Welcome to Take Me Out, the ultimate podcast about ballparks and baseball. You've said that already. I'm Tim. That's Alex.
It's very important. People need to know.
How are you, Alex? We got a big episode coming, but how are you right now in this moment?
In this moment, I am better than I was about 30 minutes ago.
Okay.
I've had a long past about 24 hours. A lot of traveling, a couple of delays, not able to sleep in much, and then I had a long night at work. But I am refreshed. I got food in me, and I'm ready to talk about my incredible experience to Wrigley Field and other baseball things.
Okay. I mean, what did you eat? What did you have for dinner?
I went to the Phoenix, which is a nice little place over next to Lanier Middle School in Montrose, and had myself a good Cobb salad and chicken karaage on the side. I was hungry.
The Cobb salad, okay.
Yeah, right. Blue cheese crumbles, bacon, avocado, hard-boiled egg. Yeah, good. And some lettuce in there too.
It's everything you need at 10 o'clock at night, I'm sure.
Exactly, especially when you've had only half a breakfast taco to eat in the morning and then had to work a very long shift at work.
Oh yeah, you didn't eat lunch at all? I'm sorry to hear that.
I kind of slept through lunch, doing my sleeping and stuff, but
I brought a salad to work today, and I forgot salad dressing. I usually make my own dressing. I literally will do like mustard, a little soy sauce, and like some chili crisp or whatever. Just like a little.
That sounds good. Okay.
A little salt, little vinegar, and a lot of heat. And I try to keep it like relatively healthy, like not too much soy sauce, and mustard is really healthy for you. So like I try to keep it healthy, and I forgot to bring a salad dressing, so I had to go to the corner store near work, which is a really like very like low key bodega, like very low bodega.
Okay.
No, I mean it's not. It's not very good. That's what I'm trying to say. I was trying to say it in a way that was not that bad, but no, it wasn't. It's not a great place. And all they had was ranch dressing, which I'm not a fan of ranch. I don't really like ranch. I'll eat it because I will eat literally everything in the world except for sunflower because I'm allergic to it. But ranch.
As a baseball fan, that's sad.
Yeah, I can't have sunflower seeds, which is sad. Oh. But ranch dressing is one thing that I just don't really want to have ever because it's really thick and gloopy and a little too much.
Not as bad as blue cheese dressing. That's gloopier.
Oh, I like blue cheese though.
I love blue cheese though. Yeah, give me like the tartest blue cheese that make me hurt in my throat, and I'll be so happy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this like convenience store is even putting it a little far. It's not. It wasn't a convenience store. They had ranch dressing. They had tartar sauce in a bottle, which I didn't, who eats tartar sauce like in such a large bottle, and Thousand Island dressing. Okay. So Thousand Island is what I picked because at least it's like, okay, look, Thousand Island dressing is like ketchup and mayonnaise and pickles essentially. So it's not great either, but it is of all the things I could have had, it's the one that
it's better than a dry salad too. So nobody likes dry salad.
Yeah. I don't want to, you don't win friends with salad.
It's not even a salad. It's just lettuce at that point.
Yeah, you don't win friends with salad, and you don't win friends with dry salad. That's for sure.
Exactly.
So thank you for hanging with us here on Take Me Out this week. And we're going to talk ballparks. We're going to talk baseball. That's what we do here. But on this week's show, we are going to talk about Alex's very exciting trip recently to Wrigley Field in Chicago to see the Cubs take on the Kansas City Royals, I believe. And it's a big one because it checked off a ballpark on our list. We'll get to all that. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll go through her impressions, what she did, how she experienced it, and so much more. We'll also go through the ballpark news in just a few moments, including more Rays news. The Rays are back in the news, and that sale is still ongoing. It's still potentially going to happen, but we'll get into some more stuff there. And a big update about Fenway Park for this weekend coming up as it pertains to its concession workers. But first, Alex, as we do this every week, we need to tell the fans listening that they have a very valuable role that they can play in the growth of Take Me Out because they can tell people that, like baseball and might need a new podcast to listen to about what we do. So why don't you tell the people listening right now how they can spread the word and the things that, we do to kind of spread the word ourselves?
Gladly. You can follow us. That's a big one too. So actually, no, let's start with just listening. So you're clearly listening to us right now. We thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, one of those two. While you're here, if you wouldn't mind going to our page and giving us a quick 5-star review. That's all you need to do. 5 stars. Yes.
5 stars, not 4.
Appreciate that.
Not 2.
And share
5.
it with everybody you know. All your friends you know, tell us 5 stars. Share it, listen. It's awesome. If you want to support us on social media, we have some social media stuff going on too. We are on Instagram at instagram.com/@takemeoutpod. We're also on Facebook at takemeoutpod. If you were on Instagram following us, quite a few of y'all were. When I was in Chicago, you probably saw our Instagram stories, which was just like a series of dots. Because I was like, any picture I took, I'm like, Instagram, you know, and videos is a lot of fun. And then we have a Patreon as well. So yeah, Facebook is Take Me Out Pod. Instagram is Take Me Out Pod. Instagram is just Take Me Out.
Patreon is Take Me Out.
Yes.
Patreon is Take Me Out.
Yes. Did I say that? Okay, sorry.
It's okay. No, it's been a long couple of days for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Patreon page, which is up and running, and I'm putting out there. It should be up there now as you're listening to this. Our first Patreon exclusive podcast episode, which is a full-on review of Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was recently there. I recorded more than an hour, just me straight talking about CBP and the city of Philadelphia, things you can do in and around the park and in the city. And I tried to be as I tried to structure it while talking, but I didn't really I didn't pause much. It was really just like straight through talking. And I covered a lot. I covered where to eat, where to drink. I covered the team store. I covered all the things you can do, the experiences you can have in the park. I covered parking. I covered, where to sit in the park. I covered places outside the park where you can go and eat and drink and things like that. So, and my overall impressions of the park and my review of the park, I gave it a rating on a scale of 1 to 100. Very important, because we will build that in time and you can figure out what the rankings are from that point. But it was a very fun experience, and that is on the Patreon at patreon.com/takemeout. If you sign up for the Patreon, there are 2 tiers currently. One is the Loge level. You could sit up high. It's the $3 tier, $3 a month. And then there is the Field level, which is down low, and that is $5 a month. And with the Loge and Field, you will be able to get these special episodes that we do. But if you sign up for the Field level for $5 a month, you will get even more. And those perks will come as in time as you get going there on the Patreon, and we will introduce more of those things. But if you sign up, it is patreon.com/takemeout. And as Alex said, our Apple Podcasts, our Spotify, 5-star ratings, reviews, all good stuff. Please give them to us, because that'll help us out. And all the places that we are on social media, please follow us there. Thank you so much for listening. But now, Alex, why don't we get into this week's Ballpark news?
Ballpark news, gladly. We're going to start at Fenway Park. As we mentioned earlier, Fenway Park hospitality and concession workers are set to strike this weekend.
We talked about this several weeks ago on the podcast, that there were talks between the Fenway Park hospitality workers, who are workers of Aramark, which is a major food service company headquartered in Philadelphia. I still believe they are. And national company, they are one of the biggest food service companies in the country.
Them and Cisco are the 2 big ones, yeah.
Cisco's mammoth as well. And the Aramark workers at Fenway Park were trying to negotiate and try to get to a deal, but things were not coming to terms. And so they voted, last month, to strike. And on Wednesday, according to WGBH in Boston, on Wednesday, the workers said they will have 48 hours. If a deal isn't done within 48 hours, they will strike. And that means Friday. And Friday is the start of a 3-game series at Fenway between the Red Sox and the Los Angeles Dodgers, which is a big deal.
That's not a small series. That is not a small series at all. No, that's oh my gosh.
The Red Sox are in wild card contention right now. They are playing decent baseball. The Dodgers have obviously, they're the Dodgers and are doing very well in the National League. And I know you don't like them, but hey, we have to talk about them. But it is a big series, and Dodgers fans travel, especially to Fenway Park in Boston. Fenway's one of those parks that everybody wants to get to. So this is a series that is anticipated to have sellouts or near sellouts. The workers for Aramark there, they are looking for a couple things. They include fair scheduling, senior level employees getting better schedules than the junior level employees, increased gratuity for premium workers. So the workers who are in the club boxes and the suites and working with the high rollers, should get a little bit more money than the ones who are working just the everyday concourse. Guardrails on automation, as in, of course, there's more automation happening at ballparks with the grab and goes, and you're putting in your order and it comes to you and you don't have to deal with a worker at the concession stand. Well, the workers want guidelines to say, we're not going to have this much automation. There's a certain amount that we can have at the park, but we also want to protect our jobs. So that's another part of it. And then the other thing is that they want more money. According to WGBH, the workers say that the workers doing similar jobs at different ballparks across the country and at nearby Boston University are making more money than they are. And it's funny that they said that, because I can actually somewhat relate to those comments. I am wearing my Boston University t-shirt. I went to Boston University. I worked in food service in Boston University for 3.5 years. And I worked with our food service team at BU. This was 20 years ago. Food service team. It was BU kids who were on work study and were just working, right? And so I was one of those kids. And then there were Aramark workers who were the adults who were in their 30s, 40s, what have you. And they were the ones doing, the more sort of, dangerous jobs. They were the ones downstairs cooking. They were dealing with the hot temperatures in the ovens, and they were the ones working the longer shifts and all that kind of stuff. And they were making their pay. And I will tell you, the BU workers this 20 years ago at the dining halls, they were, working 8-10 hours, whatever it was a day. I mean, I'm sure it was 8 hours because they had, they were hourly employees and they had to only work 8. But it was a lot of grunt work, and it was a lot of cooking and cleaning and prep and, very stressful, high anxiety sort of, dangerous situations, a lot of, sharp utensils, and just a kitchen is always just it can be dangerous, right? Open flames, stressful, a lot of kids, a lot of just demands, and working in food and beverage is very hard, right? And so I can attest to, because I've seen it, I've been part of it. I was recruited by Aramark to be an Aramark employee after college. I didn't take that role. I instead went into journalism, and it's hard work. And so I can understand if the Fenway Park workers are saying, look, these people at BU nearby who are doing dining hall work essentially, and people at ballparks across the country who are doing concession stand work, they're making more than us. I can understand why they would want more money, and they would also want, just better benefits and a little bit more equality in their jobs. I mean, I am pro labor. I assume you are as well.
Oh yeah.
Being a food service person, it's common sense that we should be treating food service workers, food and beverage workers at a higher level, at a better level, with more respect, with more financial respect as well, because these are hard jobs. These are everyday jobs. These are long jobs. It's not like these people are working part-time and then they're doing other things on the side. I mean, some of them are, because yes, concession work is in a baseball stadium. It's 81 dates a year, and it's maybe not all 81 dates, and it's not maybe every day of the week or the year, but a lot of these workers, this is their job for that day. And then they have to supplement with something part-time on the side that can keep them afloat. And it's hard. And so I'm with the workers here at Fenway Park. Pay them what they should be paid, quite honestly. I don't know what the exact terms are. I don't know what is going on in the negotiation tables, but I'm just very pro-labor in this circumstance. And so give them what they want, especially because, look, without concession workers at ballparks,
you're going to have a lot of hungry, upset fans.
It's chaos. It's just
it is chaos. Yeah. I'm very pro labor as well. I know we're a family friendly podcast, but it is very ballsy of them to do this strike on the weekend of the Dodgers there, because it's
calculated. It's definitely calculated.
It's incredible. Good for them to be instead of doing a smaller team, but that's saying hey, you want to see what's going to happen if you don't have us, if you don't pay us enough, this is what's going to happen. And it's pay us what we're owed, pay us what we're worth, and props to them. Best of luck to them. I hope they hold out if they can't come to an agreement.
I wonder what it looks like too at the experience if this actually happens starting Friday, because Fenway is a little different in that there are concessions obviously inside the park, but then outside the park on Jersey Street, there are concessions there. They block off that part of the street. You can, your ticket gets you into the street, and then you
Right.
can walk outside of Fenway and kind of hang out and get food and drink and whatever else before you actually go into the park itself, the building. So I wonder if those concessions are Aramark run and if they will be compromised by this strike too. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to hear the stories and read the stories and to see if fans, if there are fans who are like food and beverage workers or are laborers who like understand what's going on here and in solidarity will decide I'm not going to the game.
Yeah, don't want to cross the picket line. Yeah.
Yeah, don't cross the picket line. I mean, I don't know if that's going to deter sellouts because people will just want to go to the games anyways, but it'll be interesting to see just what kind of reaction this gets because I don't think we've had at a major league ballpark this kind of activity. I don't think we've had an in-season strike of concession workers that I could think of. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty unique. So we'll see what happens. We'll check back on this next week on the podcast and see what's going on in Fenway. But very interesting stuff. Like I said, pay the people, give them what they want. These are important people who do
cost
really
of
tough
living
work.
is getting kind of high too,
especially in Boston.
Boston's not a cheap city to live in.
No.
Our economy is not having a lot of fun right now, so it's go with the times. Come on. All right, let's move down to Tampa. The Rays St. Petersburg Stadium deal is formally dead.
So, this last week on the podcast, we reported that the Rays were very, very close to the finish line of being sold to a new owner, Patrick Zalupski, who seems to be looking to move the team to Tampa, downtown Tampa, at some point in the future. And kind of part of that, but not really part of that, there's more to it than that, is that the St. Petersburg City Council, today, I believe, voted unanimously, as we're recording this, I should say, which is Thursday, the 24th of July, voted unanimously to kill the $1.3 billion stadium deal, which is part of a $6.5 billion project for the historic gas plant district of St. Petersburg. It comes after the Rays said they were going to get out of the project, primarily because of the damage to Tropicana Field that was sustained during the hurricane last year, which prompted them to obviously allocate funds in different directions. The St. Pete Council does want Tropicana Field to be repaired completely and be operational as of next season. And so the Rays do have a contract there through 2028. So they're trying to keep the Rays there at least through 28. And maybe there's a glimmer that they can keep them there past 28. But of course, right now, the Rays, like I said, are very close to being sold to Patrick Zalupski. And all things point to him wanting to move the team somewhere else, particularly Tampa. That's not official. That hasn't been said by him, but I think all rumors kind of state that he is eyeing the area in Tampa near Ybor City by the water there as a potential stadium for the Rays in the future. So what this means essentially is it's another sort of card that falls for the Rays that St. Petersburg is probably not their future home. Like I said, we said this a million times now on this podcast that it just doesn't feel like the Rays are going to be at Tropicana Field much in the future. It feels like there's going to be a turning point, a fork in the road for them, and it's coming very soon. And this is just another one of those cards that falls. And so it looks really, really like it's either Zalupski buys them and moves them to Tampa or they're out of that entire region completely.
I hope they stay in Tampa. I really think it's a cool area for them to be in. And I believe I'm correct in thinking about like all the cool things to do, because I know there's St. Petersburg does have a lot of cool things. So, but St. Pete and Tampa are just like they're like in each other. They're so close to each other. But there's so many cool things to do there. Like I think St. Petersburg technically, like I think we mentioned before, you've got Little Cooperstown. It's the world's largest collection of signed baseballs. It's a really cool thing. But you got the Salvador Dali Museum as well. You've got a Dale Chihuly thing if you're an art lover like myself. And it's just a gorgeous part of the state. And I hope they can find a way to still stay in that area, because I know St. Petersburg is probably the more tourist-friendly part, but you want to keep it in Tampa because you would like to. I'm sure they would love to have that money there, and I'm sure. I hope they could stay there.
Yeah, and I think they're trying really hard to make that happen. I think this potential sale is I wouldn't say like a miracle, because I don't think it's a miracle, but it feels like it's maybe the last chance for the Rays to kind of stay in this region, because it feels like the St. Pete City Council wants there to be development in the gas plant district, but they kind of see, I think, very clearly and very correctly that the Rays are just not part of those plans. It doesn't seem like Stuart Sternberg wants to be there. And then beyond that, Tropicana Field is obviously not a viable major league ballpark today, let alone past 2028. So there has to be something that changes here, and this is the thing that might change it here with Zalewski. But we will again keep track on that, because that's a major story that will be changing, probably not for another month or two. What we've heard is that maybe September there will be big news on that, official news on a sale, but we'll keep our eyes peeled on that as that keeps rolling.
Best of luck to all involved. All right, Chase Field is giving visually impaired and blind fans a new way to follow the game.
This is really great. This just premiered at
this.
Chase Field. It's called the One Court Tactile Broadcast. So what happens on the field is then transmitted as inputted data through Wi-Fi or 5G, and then it's translated into vibrations that play out on this broadcast board, this tactile broadcast. It's essentially like this. It looks like a cutting board almost. Like it's like the kind of size of like a medium-sized cutting board that has the etching of a baseball diamond, and it has the etching of a strike zone, the box of a strike zone, and it has, I think a score bug as well. And so when something happens on the field, let's say there's a base hit to right field and a runner goes to first base, like the pitch will, like, you'll get the vibration on the batter's box or the batter's eye or whatever it is, the batter's box, or the pitch box, I should say, where the pitch was located. Then I guess there'll be some sort of like maybe it'll vibrate once or twice, whatever, if it's a hit, and then you'll get a vibration of the player going to first base, and then it'll vibrate there. So something like that.
That's so cool.
And it's just a way for blind or visually impaired people to, they're feeling out the screen and the vibrations, and they'll get to follow the game in real time. I think it's like a 2-second delay is the maximum. So that's pretty good. I mean, 2 seconds is, like, yes, there's like a little bit of a delay in that you will, the thing will happen on the field, the crowd will respond, and then there will be a second later, whatever happens is vibrating. So you'll have to kind of get used to that if you're using it, but
it's
considering considering the alternative is you just have to hear, and hopefully like hearing the game like gets you, what you want. Like now you can actually feel what's happening. Is like, you don't have to be told. Like the person next to you who can see the game isn't having to tell you like, oh, so we hit the ball to left field, it's a base hit. So like that's a huge step up, and it's great. The Portland Trailblazers were the first professional sports team, I think, in America to use this. They debuted it last year at their arena, and it was a big hit. It got some coverage in the media, and now the Diamondbacks are the first major league team to introduce the tactile broadcast, and they have 5 available at Chase Field. So if you or someone is blind or visually impaired and is going to a Diamondbacks game this year, go to information and ask about a tactile broadcast, and they will give you one, and you can use it for the game, which is really effing cool. And I hope every team adopts this, whether it's through the One Court Tactile or some other company's, version of it, whatever it is. I hope every team adopts this kind of a system over the next year and gives all kinds of fans an opportunity to experience baseball as much as possible.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I'm assuming it's free. Is it free?
I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know if you have to, I can't imagine. So usually
I can't imagine they would make you pay for that, because I mean, it's a disability. I'm sure ADA would have a word with them about that.
Yeah, I'm sure it is free. And so what usually happens in these, so every ballpark now has all kinds of tools that you can use for people with disabilities. Whether it's, there's obviously, there's closed caption, but there's also like fidget, toys, and there's rooms where people can go into to sort of take a breather. There's headphones, noise canceling headphones. There's all kinds of accessibility toys and tools and things like that ballparks have introduced over the past several years to make the game more accessible for all kinds of fans. And what usually happens is you go up to the information desk, you say, hey, I'm with somebody who has a disability. This is what they need. Can we have this? They say yes. You might have to turn in a driver's driver's license or some form of identification as sort of a
Yeah.
trade-off, so that you don't walk away with it, right? And that's kind of the trade-off. So I imagine it's the same deal. You go up to information, you hand over your ID, and they give you a broadcast, and then your fan who needs it can have it. So it's great. I just hope every team, jumps into this and, uses more of these things as they become available and they're invented.
I love that. That's fantastic for them. That's great.
Well, that's the ballpark news for this week on Take Me Out. We will come right back in a moment. We'll get right into a great trip that Alex just had at Wrigley Field in Chicago. All about Wrigley coming right up on Take Me Out. Stay with us. Welcome back to Take Me Out. I'm here. Alex is there.
Hello.
There she is. Hello. All right. Before we get into your massive trip, we do have to talk about Wrigley Field in another way.
Mm-hmm.
Little update, because we actually talked about this last week, that the Major League All-Star Game, of course, very recently, in the last 2 weeks here, was in Atlanta at Truist Park. Mixed reviews, I think, overall. People were really gung-ho about Truist Park and the Battery going into the game. And then I heard a lot of people say after the fact, like, wow, the fans didn't really care. And my response is Atlanta Braves fans don't really care about baseball to begin with. I didn't say that.
Who was that?
That was the devil. There's the devil on my shoulder. There's devil on my shoulder.
It's just like someone else's microphone just cut in. That's so strange.
That's right. But seriously, but it went fine from what what I've read from a lot of different places. And of course the Hank Aaron tribute was incredible and stuff like that. But we talked all about that last week on the podcast, but we also mentioned that next year's All-Star Game in 2026 will be at the park that I called home for so long, Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia.
They just released the logo for it. It looks good. Have you seen it?
Just released it. Yes, I did.
Yeah,
And they put the logo so at CBP in right center field, or maybe just dead center somewhere in that area, up on the rooftop. They always had an analog clock up there, which I thought was just so awesome that just like an analog clock was up there. I mean, it was like a grandfather kind of style clock, whatever. But that was what they had for 20 years. There was that clock. But this year, starting now and up until the end of All-Star Weekend next year, the All-Star logo is in its place. So that's now visible at all times at the ballpark. So that's cool. It's cool you can see it, but I do miss the analog clock because it's a very important part of Citizens Bank Park lore. Nevertheless, the announcement, though, that is coming our way officially, it's unofficial right now, but officially this will be made on August 1st. The 2027 All-Star Game, the festivities, will be taking place from Wrigley Field in Chicago.
Yeah.
So,
hey, I've been there.
We talked about this last week, that it seemed pretty likely that Wrigley was getting the 27 game. All signs are pointing to it. It just was a matter of getting it done. Wrigley has not hosted the Major League All-Star Game since 1990, which is wild. It's been 36 years. Yeah, 36 years since Wrigley has hosted the All-Star Game. There's a part of me that was like, no, because I remember the All-Star Game at some point in like the late 90s, and Mark McGwire probably hit one onto Waveland Avenue, or I remember that. And no, it wasn't that. It was Fenway Park in 99 where they all hit it out of the park and onto the street. And then, just during the late 90s and early 2000s, Sammy Sosa would hit a ball and it would go down the block, someone would pick it up, on the corner, a half mile away. But, I just conflated the two. But, I mean, Wrigley has not hosted since 1990, and he'll be coming back to Wrigley for the first time in 37 years in 2027. So great news there. Mm-hmm. That'll be a lot of fun. And, I mean, you're talking about, the All-Star Game next year in Philadelphia at Citizens Bank, then the All-Star Game the year after that at Wrigley. There's obviously a lot of talk about Oracle Park in San Francisco, potentially getting it in 28, with the Olympics in 28 in Los Angeles, and wanting to keep players, if they play baseball for U.S. and all other countries in the Olympics there, keeping them in California around the same time. So Oracle getting it in 28 potentially, but also Camden Yards is kind of coming up on another run, hopefully at some point soon.
Yeah.
You got to imagine Fenway Park will get one pretty soon because they last hosted in 99. You got to imagine that Rogers Center will be getting one at some point soon because they haven't hosted since, I think, 89. So
Oh wow, they're due.
But you look at like CBP, Wrigley Field, Oracle Park, Oriole Park, like 4 of maybe the 10 best parks in baseball, in line to get the All-Star game back to back to back to back, potentially, right? Is really
legendary.
cool. So it'll be great to have the game, in these kinds of parks for the next couple of years. If that happens that way, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to mention though that there was I saw this when I saw the news about Wrigley getting the All-Star game in 27. This is from WGN, who reported it, among others. Quote, the biggest roadblock to Wrigley Field playing host to an All-Star game was safety concerns. In the days before Levine broke the news, and I don't know who Levine is. I should have noted that in here because I just pasted it. The Chicago Sun-Times reported the city of Chicago, state of Illinois, and the Cubs would split a $30 million bill to install anti-terrorism rated removable bollards around the friendly confines and widen sidewalks along Addison Street in legislation proposed at City Council. So basically what they're saying is the streets around Wrigley Field are narrow, as you can attest to now.
Yes.
I mean, it's ridiculous how you're on one side of the street and cross in like 2 seconds and there's Wrigley.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous, but they're narrow sidewalks and obviously with a large gathering of people and just the crap that's been going on in this country and in parts around the world over the past couple of years, you can never be too careful and you need to just keep a watch for there's a lot of people on the sidewalk gathered around. You don't want somebody just driving a car into a crowd. And so that's basically what the threat is with these bollards. So that's what they were talking about. They'll be installing those bollards, it sounds like, with this potential deal going through. And that'll be part of, getting Wrigley Field up to code or up to snuff for the All-Star game. But it's good news to get Wrigley on the board there. But with that, do you have any words about Wrigley getting the game, or do you just want to jump into your Wrigley?
I mean, it could be a good transition. What's the capacity there? I think it's only like 42.
Yeah, I mean, Wrigley's. Yeah. I think Wrigley Field is probably around 40. I don't think it's.
It's over that though, because let's just talk about my trip. So the game I went to,
41,649. So yeah, close to 40.
Okay. Oh wow. So that's interesting. Okay. Well, cool. Yeah. So that's it'll be a hot commodity. Those tickets will be nice and expensive and hard to get, but good luck to anyone who's trying to go. That'd be a lot of fun to go to. But
imagine how expensive those rooftop seats will be.
Oh my God. I looked at those up and I was like, yeah.
I would imagine people are already, I don't know how.
There's a wait list, I'm sure.
Why? Yeah. Right? I don't know how much in advance you can rent out those rooftop, because I mean the rooftop is basically you rent out the rooftop for the day, right?
Right.
And you could stay there, in the suites down there, and you rent out the rooftop above.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean I think it's like $1,000 the last time I looked for a rooftop for just a regular game, right? So imagine the All-Star game, right, and maybe the home run derby or something like that, you're paying.
Oh my gosh, those are going to be the best.
20, 30, 40,000, upwards of 50 to 60, who knows? I mean, you obviously split it among 20 people or whatever, but still that's a pricey spot, but it's obviously once in a lifetime. Anyway, speaking of once in a lifetime, you went to Wrigley Field.
I went to Wrigley Field.
Tell us about
it's so cool saying that.
When you flew out and when you got there and what the trip was kind of structured to be.
So I flew out of Houston, out of IAH, on United, which is, actually now based in Chicago. So, cool. But I flew out of there, of Houston Monday night.
Which was July 21st?
Yes, correct. And my original plan was, I was like, I'll probably just take the trains to get from O'Hare to my Airbnb. And I was like, you know what? I'm landing at 11 o'clock at night. It's probably going to be, I'm in a city I don't know very well. I'm sure it's great transportation and everything, but being on
it's not bad,
transportation, in a city I don't know by myself, I'm just going to bite the bullet and I just Ubered. I stayed in an Airbnb that was about Google said it was 0.7 miles from Wrigleyville, and which is, that's the main reason I chose it, because I was looking for something close. Mm-hmm. And it was Great Airbnb, fantastic host. It was just a room that I stayed in this guy's place. And so Tuesday woke up and I had had my day planned out. I found a coffee spot that was like about a quarter of the way to Wrigleyville. So I left the Airbnb and got some coffee, chilled there for a little bit, and just walked over to Wrigley. And this is around noon, and it was a 7 o'clock game. And I just did a lap around Wrigley, and because I was gonna like wait till later so I can like save, but I was like, I'm so excited to just see this place in person and everything, and just did a good lap around Wrigley, checked out all the sites. I saw a couple of the bars that you mentioned, you recommended. I ended up going to some of them later. But yeah, Murphy's is where I went to. Murphy's Bleacher Park.
Yeah, Murphy's Bleachers.
Cool.
Yeah,
That place is cool. They've
that's
got
my
some good.
favorite.
Yeah, and they've got some. I had the best steak Kolsch, which is a really good non-alcoholic beer.
Great.
Sat next to a really nice Irishman. He lives in the Netherlands, but he's visiting his cousins who live not far from Wrigley Field, and he was going to the game the next day, but he didn't know anything about baseball. And we talked for a bit. I told him about our podcast. I don't know if he's listening. Hi, David, if you are.
Please get us international listeners. That'd be great.
Let's go. But it was an incredible time. And then I left, and then I went back to the Airbnb to cool off a little bit because it was still a little warm. And then I went back and just that's when this is the time I went to Murphy's. And I actually booked myself, as I mentioned last week, I booked myself the 3:30 tour, the pregame tour. There's a lot of people on this tour. And something I didn't know until I looked at the ticket, and this is actually a really good pro tip. And I mentioned this on our Instagram stories too. If you can show your ticket that you went on the tour to anyone in the official team store, there's one there in the Gallagher Way and there's one in the Ballpark, and you get 10% off your purchase. So,
oh, hey, that's cool.
I took advantage of that, and I got my hat, which I always get the hat when I go to a new
There's your hat.
thing.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I love it. And of course I wore it. I also got there was a long line for these, the first time certificate things here.
Course, yes.
It was really cool. Yep. I got a little picture in front of this little stand they did. And another thing that I loved, and they did this, at Tropicana Field, is you can pay a certain dollar amount to get a game used ball. And I did not know they did this at Wrigley Field as well. So $40, you get on the wait list. And it's randomized, I think. There's a lot of people on the list. And you sign up online, and then the 6th or 7th inning to say, hey, we've got your game used ball, come get it. And like that's when you go down to pay. Is if you don't get a ball, you don't have to pay, obviously. But so it's got the hologram on there. Unfortunately, it's not on the MLB Authentics website yet, but this is a game used ball from the Tuesday game, the Chicago Cubs versus the Kansas City Royals. Cubs won that night. It was the only game of that series they won, unfortunately. But I can't I really don't know where to go because this is. I know we're probably going to do rankings later, but I'm going to give you a spoiler. This Wrigley's going to be my number one because I had it was a perfect trip. It was a perfect time.
Okay.
It was not too hot. The tour was fantastic. The tour guide, I sent you a picture of this guy, Tim. He looked like he was on that SNL skit or like that Bears. I really wanted him to say that.
Yeah.
It was just an amazing trip. And I'm still glowing about it.
Okay, so that's crazy that it's great because you get out of the Airbnb that first day and you're just like, I'm going to Wrigleyville. I'm not going to go anywhere else in the city. I'm not going to try anything else. I'm just going to go to Wrigleyville. Check it out. Wrigleyville is really cool because of all the bars and all just it's very walkable. It's very cute, especially when the weather's nice, which it seemed like it was great for you that
gorgeous.
day.
I think it got up to 78 degrees. That was perfect.
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. So you did the tour. So on the tour, what's the favorite thing that they took you that you saw? I'm sure they stop a bunch of places. Like, what was your favorite sort of place to stop at and see?
Well, I did not know we were actually going to get down to the field. So we weren't on the field itself. We were just kind of on the warning track, kind of near the batter's box and everything. Sure. And that's when they were just doing grounders and just infield stuff for the players to warm up. It was before batting practice, but just. I kind of looked down at my feet at one point. I'm like, I'm standing on the field at Wrigley Field. This is really cool. I got kind of geeked out about that. And then I think my other favorite part was being up in the bleachers. And the guy, and we are kind of behind the bleachers to start. And he was like showing us the neighborhood behind where he had that street. And he would say, you can see people starting to set up chairs. They will sit out there and hope for home run balls. And he said when the whole Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire thing, he showed us this house that was like 3 houses down, And he said, "You see the house with the yellow staircase? Yeah, Sammy Sosa hit a home run ball, and a woman heard the clatter when it hit her front steps, and she went outside and picked up the ball. Was like, huh, cool, and went back inside, and then saw herself on TV because of the delay. And she saw her sitting. I was like, that's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
And then he gave us a story about the roofs and everything, but and it's just the story of how the bleachers are such a hot commodity. I know you had told me I should probably grab a seat there if I could, but I already had my seat for that game. And then the Wednesday game was a day game, and Chicago was under a heat advisory. If I want a heat advisory, I'll just come back home to Houston. So ended up did not go to the game, but I was going to try to sit in the bleachers, but with the heat, no. Our tour guide actually told us that when he's not working, like he will sit in the bleachers, and he pointed up because it was in the left field bleachers, and the very back row is where him and like all of his old guy friends are, because I mean they're all like in their 70s or so, and they want something to lean against if they would need to. That's where they all sit. It's the back row up there.
They take their shirts off and they just pound beers.
Yeah, he's like, I take my shirt off. I'm not going to do that for y'all right now because that's just mean.
That's like one of my favorite aspects of like watching old Wrigley games from even the 90s, but definitely the 70s and 80s, is you just like, you'll see like out in the outfield in the bleachers, like just like rows of men with no shirt on. Just
yeah.
It's like, oh, that's what you did.
Living it up.
Back then. And even women, like, I mean, there were even some women who were like wearing like bikini tops, like in Wrigley Field bleachers. So like,
Good, yeah.
So like, yeah, I mean, like people were just like, yeah, it's hot. This is what I'm doing. Who cares? Right. So that was fun. The tour was great. That's good.
Yeah. He told us some stuff I never knew about it. Like it made a lot of sense thinking about it, is that it was intended to be a ballpark, a neighborhood ballpark, which it clearly is. And it still feels like it because, yes, you have bars around it, obviously. It's still in the middle of a neighborhood. It's not a district or anything like that. And it was intended to be used purely for public transportation, which is like, oh my gosh, yes, there are no parking lots around here. It is exactly what it was built for.
Narrow streets, and if you're driving, like, good luck trying to find a parking space.
Park 5 miles away.
Yeah, park on the street and hope you don't get a ticket. You got to be very careful. I mean, Uber or Lyft is probably the best thing to do. Probably. I mean, you can take all transportation, but you have to walk to the park. Excuse me, we got things. Okay, so the tour, so the game. Tell me about the pregame. So what did you? I mean, I know what you ate, but tell us what you ate. Tell us what where you got something to drink. Tell us, what that pregame was like and what you did beforehand.
So they have, I think is it called the Sawyer Street? I'm so sorry. They have these little street markets, and it's kind of like one of those little Amazon things where you scan your card to get in and you just grab what you need and walk out. I saw on the website, it was I think it was a sober trip, so something for non-alcoholic people at Ballparks, and they said there, and actually one of the concession workers there, they were supposed to carry Athletic, which is non-alcoholic beer. I didn't see it. I think they canceled their contract for whatever, but they did have a Michelob Ultra Zero. I did not get that because I don't like Michelob Ultra. Why would I get the non-alcoholic version of it? So I did get the non-alcoholic version of it. I got a bottle of water. And then, so I got that. And then I went up to my seat. And while I was up there, I was like, I'm going to get one of those Chicago dogs. And I did. And it was fantastic. And they got the caramelized onions. I got some tomatoes. And I got the greenest relish I have ever seen. I don't know how they get that relish that green.
So
it's like someone ground up Kermit the Frog or something. I'm like, good Lord.
And you can get I think you can get jardinera on a dog if you'd like, but
that's what they said that was. So it wasn't the actual jardinera. It was like, so they had the onions, they had the gherkins, and they had sliced tomatoes, and then relish. That's what they said the jardinera was. And so I was
so like I don't know. It's like a pseudo jardinera because a real jardinera has like carrot pieces in it, and it's a little more. It's a little like fattier and a little slimier and a little like greasier, I think, even like an actual jardinera. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that relish is like neon green. It's like a nightlight.
Yeah, I was just like, this is a real food, right? I'm not eating like it's like some what is I think like a radioactive material. I'm like, how is this?
And
green?
Did you put mustard on it?
I did not. I just wanted to stick with that stuff. I did. Okay. Don't look at me like that. Okay.
That's all right. That's okay. I mean, as long as you didn't put ketchup on it.
No, I'm not a heathen. Okay. Come on.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then you went to the bars as well before the game. You went
Yes,
to
I went
Murphy's.
to Murphy's, yes, and that's where I had just their best steak Kolsch. They had a couple of different options, but I did a nice little walkthrough of it. That place is huge.
Yeah,
It
I
goes
saw that.
back
It was
far.
it's like
It
7
was
different
really
bars.
cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was and there was like some other groups in there that weren't there for the game, but just some people in there with their dogs. It had a real, I think, when did it say it opened? Like 1913 is when it opened.
Yeah, it's been around for a long
Yeah,
time.
they had a
Yeah.
little plaque up front, and it felt like that it was that old. It felt that it had been around the block a few times. It was a
Oh yeah,
really cool feel to it.
yeah, there are parts of it that feel like it's like your grandmom's bar or your
Yeah,
great grandmom's bar or whatever. Like the place where
right.
she would go to have like two Schmitz or whatever and
I
smoke a
love
cigarette.
that. Yeah,
Because my grandmom did.
good for her.
But you didn't get to go to like G-Man or any of that kind of stuff.
I did not. I know, and I
You
poked
would
my
you
head
would
in.
G-Man would have been your kind of place, and I think
Okay,
they probably would have had like good NA beers. I would imagine so. But that's like I think that's your vibe. So
okay.
I wish you went.
Next
That's
time,
okay.
which I'd like to go back a bit very soon. I did. I poked my head into the Cubby Bear. It was packed in there, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna. Cool. I
Yeah,
saw it now.
it's like I said, it was very like it's younger. It's a little more like do shots and
Yeah,
like
I
let's
was like,
cavort.
cool. I did, and now this is, I don't think, well, you did kind of somewhat recommend Gallagher Way. I did spend time and I got a pretzel at the Bud. This is not a legendary spot by any stretch of the imagination. The Budweiser Brick House Tavern,
Oh no, yeah, that's
but it's it's been there since night. No, it's kidding. So I looked on their website and they have, and this spoke to me in my sober heart. They have a list of non-alcoholic drinks. So it was fantastic.
that's great.
So
That's great.
I had a fan, like a non-alcoholic Moscow Mule, non-alcoholic Old Fashioned. I had their non-alcoholic margarita, and they had a few non-alcoholic beers there as well. And I was just like, I love that. That's
That's
fantastic.
great. Fantastic.
Made me
Yeah.
happy. And then from there, okay, then so there that I left from there. Then I went to the Bleacher Bar, and then I went to the tour.
Okay.
But yeah.
And then so the game you sat first level behind the plate, somewhere behind the plate.
So I was in section 326.
326. Okay.
326R. So I was in the right field.
Yep.
Had the sun on my face for the first couple of innings, but then it went down, so it was fine. But it was a really good seat too, and I loved it. And actually, I got jeered at by my manager at work tonight because I recently changed my background on my phone to this picture that I'll show this to you of Wrigley Field as the sun was going down. It's just, you can see that right there.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Right here, I love. Sorry to the friends who are not listening, who are not watching us on YouTube, which you can watch us on YouTube. On the very bottom, on the top of the visitors' dugout, you could see the friendly confines of Wrigley Field.
Yep, that's right.
And I'm like, that's just perfect. And my manager was like, "You're an Astros fan, and you got the Wrigley Fields." I'm like, "At least it's not a Dodgers or Yankees, dude. Come on." But
come on.
Yeah, but it was perfect view, just an absolutely perfect view. You could see both of the jumbotrons. You could see the outfield scoreboard. Which is, on top of that, you had the flags of like for all the national leagues and the standings there. That's really cool. It, excuse me. I had a really good view of them raising the W at the end of the night. It was that was man. I forgot how much I paid for that seat. I know it wasn't cheap because Wrigley Field's not cheap.
Wrigley Field's not cheap. Yeah.
I would pay double again for that seat because that was a perfect view.
And I saw that you also put on Instagram the playing of Go Cubs Go.
Yeah, that was good. I got to sing along to that,
which is fun. Yeah. The iconic. I forget the name of the singer of that song, and I should remember that guy's name.
Scott?
No,
I don't know why Scott's sticking in my head. I'm gonna look it up.
I'll look it up because I need to know this. The guy. So he wrote the song. Steve Goodman. He wrote the song. Yeah. I believe in the 70s, or maybe it was the 80s. It was for the 86.
It was 84.
It was 84. It was for the 84 team. That's right.
41-year-old song.
He wrote it for the 84 team. I think he died that year. I think he died the same. Did he die in 84? He died before,
September 20th. Oh, that's
He
sad.
died before they made it to the playoffs that year.
Wow. Man.
So Steve Goodman was a, well-known singer-songwriter, had hits not hits really, but he was like a well-known, a decent, got out there in the 70s and of course he wrote Go Cubs Go, and yeah, he died in 84. He wrote it for the '84 team because there was this kind of like a feeling that this team was going to be pretty good, and Sandberg was coming of age at that point, and that team was starting to happen. And he died right before they made the playoffs. But yep. Anyways, but that's what they play at the end of the game. After they win, they raise the W flag. And yeah, the fact that I don't know if Wrigley is the only park, but it might be the only park that does the flags in the outfield showing the standings.
That it would make sense, yeah.
Which is so cool that they change those flags all the time depending on who's in first place and all that stuff. And the scoreboard out in center field, which is still what it is. I mean, it's been changed a little bit, and they've had to renovate and stuff, but they've been able to keep a lot of that ballpark what it is while still growing upon it with Gallagher Way, with the different additions that they've made out in the outfield and even along the foul lines and things like that to build up that ballpark. I still think Fenway's done it slightly better than Wrigley has, but Wrigley's done it pretty well as well. And it's just cool walking around that park. It's just a really great feeling. It feels like baseball. It's unique. Just seeing the ivy in the outfield, the fans, how intimate it kind of feels, even though it's a pretty big park. It's great.
Yeah. So what we said, the capacity there is 41.6 or so.
41 and change. Yeah.
It was, I mean, it not blew my mind because I know I'm at Wrigley. It just wowed me at the fact that it was a Tuesday night game, Kansas City Royals, having a mediocre season, and the Cubs, who are having a pretty good season. And the attendance that night was 41,092.
Yeah.
And I was great. Like, that's, they almost sold out game. I mean,
to be fair, the Cubs right now, I believe, have the best record in the National League or close to it.
Oh, do they? Oh, good for them. Okay.
No, the Cubs have stormed. They've had a really good last few months here, and they're co-leading the National League Central. I mean, I don't know about right now, but with them and the Brewers are in a heat right now.
Yeah, I was watching them and I didn't realize this, but I was looking at the outfield scoreboard because I had the Astros and the Diamondbacks, and then below that was Milwaukee and Seattle, and it's just all right, I want Milwaukee to win, but I don't want them to win because I like these Cubs, and then I want Seattle to win to beat the Brewers, so the Cubs will be happy, but I don't want Seattle to win because I want the Astros to keep it. So I was like, I'm just going to try to butt out of that. But fans are incredibly nice too. I wore my road gray Astros Kyle Tucker jersey. This is kind of funny. I went to the restroom. I was coming back to my seat, and I heard just a little cheater, and I just, I didn't really think anything of it. I kind of turned my head a little bit, and it was these two boys that couldn't have been older than 9 years old. She's hers. Cheater. I'm just and I just kept walking, and I'm like, were y'all even alive when that happened? And then at the same time, I'm like, Alex, you're not going to pick a fight with 9-year-olds tonight. We're not doing that.
That's not a good idea. Yeah.
But everyone was really, really, really nice, and everyone was welcoming. It was a great game, and yeah, like you said, with how Fenway's done some renovations. Wrigley's done a lot of renovations as well, and with how old a ballpark it is, it still maintains that feeling that it is that old, but it's not. They kept it feeling old, but it doesn't look like it's still old. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, they've done a good job of bringing in modern conveniences and widening some things and altering it just enough of a way to make it feel like, okay, it's. I mean, that main concourse is still. I mean, it gets really packed.
It's packed. Leaving was
really packed.
Oh my gosh, that was scary.
There's not a lot you can do to widen that or improve that main concourse, but it's I mean, that to me is actually kind of cool. The fact that it still feels like an old school concourse, because there aren't many of those left in baseball, and so that's cool. But
the
it is
roof is kind of lower, yeah.
But otherwise, they've done a really good job of at least expanding on the park experience a little bit outside of what it used to be. I did have to ask: did you get a chance to see the really bat crazy Harry Carey statue?
I did in the front. Yes, I absolutely did. I took a picture of that.
The right field gate, I believe, or something like that, or not the gate.
Yes, it's right where people line up to get for the GA for the bleachers.
Yeah, it's that statue is.
I was
one of the ugliest statues.
This thing, I was like, that's kind of scary.
And there's faces coming out of him, and
I was like, who are these? I mean, here, I'll do this again. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see this when I pull it up on my phone once I get there. Yeah, It's just he looks. I mean, you can see
Yeah.
he's obviously trying to lead the fans
like-
and take me out to the ball game,
but
but
it's like,
it looks like he's trying to strangle some people. You know, it's kind of
yeah, and he's like, it looks like he's like coming off out of the mud or something, and he's like stuck.
yeah,
And then
coming
there's
out of
people
a
coming out of his
mud pit of
legs.
faces.
It's just,
Yeah,
I don't know what they were thinking,
I
but
don't know either.
that's a weird one. All right, so last question: if you were to give this ballpark a rating, if you were to give Wrigley Field a rating on a scale of 1 to 100, for your purposes on our Citizens Bank special episode, I gave CBP an 81, or excuse me, 82 out of 100,
Okay.
which is pretty good.
Yeah,
And I would say one of the better parks in baseball. What would you score Wrigley with that in mind?
I'm gonna go. If we're including like the experience, right?
Yeah, everything
As well?
taken into account. Yeah,
Okay.
but also parking and also like all the things.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a 92.
A 92. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't perfect, but there was not a lot to take away that's negative of it. My only complaints were like the fact. I mean, I can be pointed at the fact that I am not as in good shape as I used to be. As I mentioned, like I'm on the upper deck and there's a lot of ramps and stairs to take.
There are a lot of stairs.
My legs are still sore. That was a complaint, but that's my fault. And then, well, it is kind of cool that it does have that old feel to it. The concourse, I mean, for the amount of people that were there, it felt like they could have used probably 20 feet more space there. This is another nitpick of mine is I'm a fast walker and the people of Chicago are not. And just a lot of people down there in the concourse as well. I was like, oh my God, you guys.
I mean,
But,
I think people across at ballparks are just slower.
Yeah.
And I find myself faster and trying to blitz through people.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But it was as close to a perfect experience as you could get. It was, I mean, I think the Cubs winning as well was a good plus to it. But I think I actually went to, Gallagher Way. I thought that was still cool as well, even though it doesn't, not too commercialized. Yeah, they did have like larger things there, larger businesses. And there was that Hotel Zachary across the street. And I remember I looked up, I was like I didn't know that was there. And I was like, just out of curiosity, like what do rooms start at this? Rooms there start around $400 a night. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's going to be someone else who's going to enjoy that. But it was just a fantastic experience. And I couldn't have asked for a better time. I had a terrific time and I'm not getting emotional about this. Oh my God. I would like to go back sooner rather than later. It was a terrific trip. Yeah. It really was. Yeah.
No, I was last there in 2022.
Okay.
Is that right? Or 2023? It was 2020. Now I'm getting it all screwed up. It might be 2023. Either way, I'm ready to go back now. Like I would, I would go back.
I hyped you up. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing so I got, as well as my hat after the game. And I was thinking about this during the game. Like if the Cubs can pull this out, if the Cubs win this, like, they fly the W. It's like, I'm going to get a little W for myself. So I went to the team store and I got myself a little W magnet. So that's on my fridge. I can bring it with me. But yeah.
There you go.
So I was like, I did a little extra thing.
Well, that whole trip was a W for sure.
It really was. Yes.
Well,
cheers, Wrigley. Thank you, Chicago.
Cheers to Wrigley Field and cheers to you for sticking with us. We'll be right back in just a moment on Take Me Out.
You can follow us on Facebook. Take Me Out is on Facebook, facebook.com/TakeMeOutPod. We're also on Instagram. Our handle there is @TakeMeOutPod. And we're also on YouTube, which I forgot to mention at the top of this podcast recording, youtube.com/TakeMeOutPod. And we're on Patreon now. I know we've been talking about it. It's finally live. We got 2 price levels. Tim has filled y'all in about that, a $5 and a $3. Get to some extra content, extra knowledge about ballparks. It's fantastic. And while you're listening to us right now on whatever podcast platform of your choice, Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us 5 stars. That's all we ask. A simple 5-star review. Click the share button. Share it to all your friends, all your family, all your coworkers, person you bumped into at a baseball game. Say, hey, check out this really cool little up-and-coming podcast about ballparks.
Yeah, and our Patreon page is patreon.com/takemeout. And there are, like as you said, there are 2 tiers. The Loge tier is $3 a month, and the Field tier is $5 a month. And of course, they correspond with levels that you typically find at the ballpark. The Loge tier and the Field tier, you both get a special episode of Take Me Out that is a guide or something very special and unique that will help you on your journey as you go visit ballparks. The first one is out. It is a review of Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Full review, fully on by me, an hour of me talking about the park. It's totally worth it. I mean it, and I'm not just saying that because I did it. Again, our Loge tier is $3 a month. Our Field tier is $5 a month at Take Me Out on Patreon, patreon.com/Take Me Out. Final segment here on Take Me Out. I don't want to get into the Coldplay concert cheating, man. Yeah. The tech thing, the whole. We all know that. We all have seen the clip. We all know what happened at the Coldplay concert recently with the man and the woman and the whole thing. It then spawned a lot of reaction, a lot of copycats, as we know. It happens. It's what happens in the culture. And the funniest thing that I saw coming out of it was at the Phillies game the night after it happened, they did the kiss cam. Good. And
it's a normal kiss cam.
It's a normal kiss cam, you know. Now you hear very quietly in the background Coldplay's clocks playing in the background.
I didn't realize that part.
And there's, a couple who's like, oh, we're on the kiss cam. We're going to kiss. And then there's another couple and they're like, oh, we're on the kiss cam. We're going to kiss. And some guy in the background's like, hey, how you doing?
I don't have a date.
You cut to the Philly fanatic with his arms around and standing behind another Philly fanatic, but with a blonde wig. And he sees it. She sees it. He sees it. And he falls to the ground and he hides. And so she hides herself and shields herself. And apparently the female Philly fanatic has a wagon.
Oh my God, damn. Oh my God. The Philly fanatic has a wagon too. I mean,
he does. Yeah, the Philly fanatic does have a wagon, that's for sure. But he's like down on the ground hiding and kind of peeking, am I. And then they cut to another couple, and then this other couple, the man is holding a sign that says, "This is my wife." Totally like he was trying to get on, and he clearly did not nobody knew we were going to get the fanatic and female, tech HR employee fanatic. Incredible, right? Just incredible stuff.
I love how the fanatic didn't just do a quick dive to the ground. He just fell over.
Yeah, it was
that was a good little tidbit in there.
It's classic. Great. It goes in the vault of Philly fanatic memories. But I wanted to use this as a moment to say, I just want to get your thoughts on the kiss cam. How do you feel about the kiss cam?
It's fun. It's part of the games that a lot of people pay attention, because a lot of weird and funny things can happen to you. Moments go viral where the camera will be on kind of not close up on a couple, but on a group of people, I guess, maybe a couple of couples. And you've seen the one where there's a couple that kiss and the guy is next to them and he just starts chugging his beer and he stands up and people cheer him on. But it's that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun to watch for. I am fortunate enough to have never seen anything awful happen. I'm also very fortunate enough to never been mistaken to have actually been on a date with anybody. So I've never been on the kiss cam, thankfully. It's fun. I'd like to know how these camera operators and directors, if they are watching these people, to make sure that they're not related and that they're on a date or they're not just friends. Because those are awkward parts. It's that's my sister. There was a guy, I think it was the NHL game where they did that a couple of years ago. The camera went to them, the guy just helped the sign, it's my sister.
Yeah. And so I think it's pretty fun. I mean, fun is a hard. It's not maybe fun. It's innocuous mostly and playful and silly. And I think these camera operators have wisened up to the point where they are, the half inning before the kiss cam, they're just kind of looking around and going, okay, when they're not on, when they don't have to be on at that moment, they're looking around and going, okay, there's a couple sitting there and they clearly are holding hands and they're cuddling up or whatever. So maybe we can shoot them. Or, and then you're looking for the funny looking people or the, the people who are just very animated, or maybe you could find that person who has a sign that says it's my sister and they're just trying to get on the kiss cam, or maybe you're planting it on, who knows. It's mostly fine. I do think, and there's been a lot of talk about the Coldplay concert and how, now the whole problem is everything is on a camera and you just I mean, you shouldn't be doing what those people were doing, but
Yeah.
the culture of like people like seeing something on a camera and immediately trying to find that person and like using social media, using the internet or whatever to find people and expose them and tell their workplace about, there are some things that are like totally like, okay, warranted, fine. But I think sometimes we're like, you know, I don't know. It feels a lot. It feels like a lot in
It,
this culture.
yeah.
That said, these people in question at the Coldplay concert were guilty as charged. And
Right.
look,
Also, don't look like you're
they
guilty.
made a
How
big
guilty?
deal about
Yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Oh my God. Act
yeah.
like just. Oh my God. I mean, they would have eventually been found out, I'm sure. But the fact that you drew attention to yourself, now the entire world
The
knows,
entire world,
as opposed
yeah,
to just a stadium full of people.
yeah.
You
Which
know,
which is
it's
which I think
yeah.
comes to my like go back to the kiss cam. I think the kiss cam is fine as long as it's almost used as a manipulative part of the experience where
Mm,
the camera operators, whoever is producing the in-game experience, can manipulate the kiss cam in such a way that is innocuous and is maybe performative and doesn't actually like do something that you land on two people who maybe one of them like does not want to be on camera and just
yeah.
doesn't like to be seen. Like that's not comfortable for anybody, right?
Mm-mm.
So that's not fun. But if it's performative and you are manipulating it in such a way that you're getting it right, then fine. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it can always be tricky. These things can always be tricky, I guess.
Yeah. It's I mean, not I don't want to get back to that couple again, but it's just if you're gonna have an
I mean,
affair, don't go someplace in public that has cameras.
true. But also,
Or
like, I
don't
think
have an affair.
but also like the kiss cam, I think teams should use it like once a week, and then
Yeah.
when they do use it, like end it with the mascot doing something dumb, or
Yeah, yes,
like
for
end it with
sure.
a performative thing that you put together, because
Hmm.
ultimately that's what you're there to do, is entertain people.
Yeah. It's fun
And
when they actually have a cameraman there and like they like right next to a couple and then they kiss and then the guy proposes to the girl. That's always fun too.
oh, I don't like that. I don't like the
No, I
proposal.
mean, good for them. If he proposed to me, I'd be like, absolutely no way. Like on the camera, no.
I
But
mean,
good for them.
do what you
Anyway,
want, right? Like I am of that like mindset, like do what you want, it's your life or whatever. But ballpark proposals are, I
I
don't
know
know, man.
that's a
Like
big hard part of it to
if
me.
I was doing a ballpark proposal, I would do it with like a private tour of the ballpark, and
Yeah.
like you're down on the field with your partner, and you do it there in that sort of
Propose at
semi-private
home
moment
plate.
at home
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, exactly. Like that would be great, not in front of 40,000 people. And
Some
what if?
people like that.
Yeah,
Bless them, but not
they
me.
do. But I don't know.
Some people get excited when they see themselves on camera. I see myself on camera and I'm like, oh, no, because it's like, why is my face that big? Why? No, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see all of my pores. So
Well, your face is not that big.
thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Tim.
You're welcome. Well, with that, we're going to end it here on Take Me Out. Thank you for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. We'll be back next week to talk more about the game that is and the game that is happening on ballparks across the country. I will probably have more news about the Rays to talk about, I'm sure. We'll probably have an update on the Red Sox situation with the workers at
Oh,
Fenway Park.
yeah.
So be ready for that. I have a trip coming up to Arlington pretty soon, I think. I
Oh,
think I'll be taking
cool.
one. So
Okay.
we'll talk about that in a few weeks. But until then, and until next week on Take Me Out, I'm Tim.
And I'm Alex. And it's baseball season.
See you next week.